Hello guys, this is Steve here. I'm just letting you guys know that on this episode of the podcast, it was recorded while I was driving, and so I apologize if there's any sounds of the GPS cutting in there, but I cleaned up the audio and leveled it, so other than that, and slapping an intro outro on it, there's really nothing else I've done to it, so again, apologize, but plenty of good content here, so stay tuned in.
Hey, this is Steve Bloom, and you are listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
You're tuned in to Steve Megatron on Altered Geek.
Hello, and welcome to a very raw and unedited Altered Geek. I'm your host, Steve, the producer Phillips. Yeah, I've changed the moniker. I was going by Megatron. It's just not... Don't get me wrong, I still like the moniker, but it's not necessarily who I am anymore. I'm a producer now. I'm a producer of programming for children's radio programming, along with all of the activities that go therein. And so that being said, I am going to be doing my first production in September. And in doing so, I'll be getting to not only produce, schedule, and a multitude of other roles therein, but I'm going to get to do voice acting officially that gets on the air, on the radio, and on podcasts. Granted, I've been doing the podcast voices for 2006? I've been podcasting since 2006. That's insane. That's insane. Yeah, it's a little crazy when you stop and think about it. I started doing voices in 2005, like online, for fan dubs, and to get to realize this dream and getting to do it finally, it's just mind-boggling. Now, I did get to be on an episode that was on a podcast online, a part of one of the mini adventures of the seasons, in May, and it aired, well, let's say it aired in beginning of June, so that's about where we land there. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun being in the booth and trying to learn all those new things that go along with it. So, yeah, a lot of things have happened, a lot of different things. So I got... After recording the episode with TFG and One Mike this week, because I'm recording this on Friday, while the episode with TFG and One Mike came out today, that episode we recorded Monday night, and then I had a glorious time going back through it on Tuesday to remove all of Mike's swearing with the goat sound that goes, ah! Or whatever. And just because I find it humorous, and I do that when my kids start screaming, I play that video. So it's just, it's fun and irritating all at the same time. And Mike doesn't like it, and neither does Dodd when I filter those through. Which, by the way, Dodd should be back next week. If I release this will be a very raw episode. So I'm going to go back to doing segments. And when I say that, I mean... I really want to add some structure back to the show. I really want to bring back the listener feedback, the listener comments and suggestions. I really want to do that because I thrive on the interaction. And it seems like this past year, everybody's life has been in some state of craziness that for whatever reason, whatever rhyme or reason, it's not worked out for anybody. Like Mike's situation between money and trying to move, and then his brain surgery that he had to have, my being let go twice in the last year, and then finally landing the job of my dreams, where I'm getting to use my skills for a lot of things I believe in, and getting to, basically do radio, producing, and voice acting, which have been pretty much what I've been all about the last 15 years that's really why I started podcasting in the first place, was because of that outlet. Was getting to do radio, was getting to do voices, was getting to produce and teach myself new skills. And granted, I'm still doing that with Altered Geek and the other plethora of shows that I've done in the past and continue to do in the future. But every job I've had has been a building block to the one I have now. And Geekcast Radio is among those, and that taught me a majority of those skills, or gave me the contacts, or gave me things. And the Blaze did. Granted, I'm not going to get political. I'm just going to leave that alone. But anyways, I am truly having fun getting back into just general conversation. We'll probably do some of the news stories, some of the, geek news or tech or whatever. I feel like sometimes I just get in this rut, and depending on my disposition, depends on how much work I want to put into Altered Geek. Granted, if I had better sound quality for driving in the car with air conditioning on and the sound of the road and, using my microphone on my phone, if there was a way I could do that mobily and have good sound, I would do so. But there really isn't an option for that. I have more of my energy during the middle of the day, which is unfortunate because I work, and I love that I work now, so don't get me wrong on that, but I have more of the energy to do the podcasting, high-energy podcasting during the day. I used to do it early in the morning when we started Geekcast Radio, and that was like dog snot tired, and then I started doing it late at night. I could do it from like 9:30 p.m. until like 2 a.m. easy. Nowadays, I'm like, too old for this stuff. It gets way too old too quick. And so, and the other thing that kind of stinks about it is I am 2 hours different now than about everybody I podcast with. So if I want to record with Dodd or Alex, or granted, those guys go to bed like uber late anyway, like 2-3 a.m. So me recording at 9:30, 10 o'clock Mountain Standard Time to Eastern Time, it's only, 11:30, 12 o'clock their time. So it's still not that huge of a deal. But there are people where that's way too late. And I get it. Like Powers, I doubt, I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on when I start recording earlier, or, if I do like an 8:30 or something at one point and then get him on for a 10:30 record his time. I don't know. Like it's difficult, especially having kids. So, but anyways, yeah, so we just went and we were going to wait to, I got to get back to my computer story. So anyways, I ordered this thing, and somebody I was talking to on a hike last Friday, because I ordered it Friday, we talked about it, and he said, he said that, because I mentioned I can get free Amazon Prime trial, and he says, I would have done it. He says, because the two items because I was holding off on, because two items weren't going to get there right away anyway, even if I had Prime, and the rest of them would. And he said, in my experience, the ones that say that they're not usually get there before the ones that say that they are going to get there sooner. And so, lo and behold, he was correct. And the two items that I thought were going to come last came first, which was kind of a good thing because I can start working on it a little bit. Whereas if I got all the rest of it, it really wouldn't be possible. But I'm kind of missing the middle component now of how this is going to work out. So the new tower is like an inch or two taller than my old one. It's an inch or two longer, but the way it's laid out on the inside, it's got an inch gap on the inside so that all the cords can be run underneath the one door panel. So you don't have all the wires all over the place because it's an open case design. And the benefit with that is that it also has hard drive bays and a bay for, my SD card reader and 3 external SATA devices, so like a DVD burner or a Blu-ray burner or whatever, I have a DVD burner. I have an external Blu-ray burner, or Blu-ray player, not burner, but I really didn't see a reason to upgrade anything. It all works still, so until things quit working, I'm not going to worry about it. That being said, I got the case, got it all figured out. There's like little click tabs that lock the hard drives and DVD player in place, so you don't have to screw anything in. It's actually rather nice. You put the hard drives, it's got 3 spots for the small form factor SATA hard drives that it locks in place. You don't have to worry about it. It just clicks. There's also 5 bays for the thicker SATA hard drives. And again, you run the cords behind that area, so it runs to the other part of the board, and then you flip it up over the top, and then it clicks into your motherboard. Now, granted, the newer cases, and I wasn't aware of this when I was looking, and I kind of started to notice it, but not so much, is that, motherboards go on the top of the case now, and the power supply goes on the bottom. And I really wasn't quite sure why. Don't get me wrong, I love that aspect now that I've seen it, but I'm not quite sure why the change happened, other than the fan that's internal for the power supply can actually point down. And this particular case has a filter and a vent at the bottom, so it blows air out the bottom, and it's got about 1 inch legs on it that lift it up so that it can blow that air out. Plus, it's got the whole front. There's a giant fan on the front, a giant fan on the back, with vents and filters so you can clean it. And so it's very open design for airflow. And then the top has a gap like that as well that you can mount another fan and so on. It's funny. I live in Loveland, Colorado. I'm driving through Denver right now. My kids and my wife, I'll explain where they're at in a minute. But I'm driving by in Denver, or Aurora, Colorado, the Amazon facility, which, I'll get to that in a minute too. So anyways, I got the power supply, got the case, got those put together, mounted. I moved my SD card reader and my DVD burner over from my old case to my new case. So yeah, I have that aspect done. Now, this is the kicker. Aurora, Amazon in general, we've ordered probably 6 times in the last week and a half on Amazon, and things are just coming sporadically through for delivery, and it's again funny. But anyways, the motherboard, the CPU fan, and the CPU fan cooling grease is going to be the last items that show up, which is, I was hoping it was the other way around, because at least then, I could have the motherboard, or at least...
There's a slowdown ahead.
Yeah, you can hear that. Driving. Yeah, it's such fun. So anyways, we have, my processor, my memory, and there's one other item that goes to the computer, and I can't remember what it is. Oh, no, it doesn't even go to the computer. It's something else we ordered. Anyways, those 2 items are showing up Sunday. And the rest of the items haven't even shipped yet. So I'm like, unless Amazon's, just not keeping up with it, or it shipped today, or, it's hard to say. I hope that it shows up the same day. That would be beautiful, but it probably won't. Because the goal is, I want to get the machine, I want to clone my hard drive to one of my other drives that are in the machine, that's like SATA 2 or something, because I didn't realize the processor that I have on my old machine, which is a Core i3 3220 third generation processor. It has Intel integrated graphics, and so
there's a slowdown ahead.
That machine can function without the video card that's in it. So I can move the video card over to the new system once I get the motherboard. I can move on my hard drives, and then all said and done. But I'm going to use the old system for the kid so that he can learn, use it for schooling and use it for everything else, for quick use for around the house. Laptop doesn't work or somebody's using or something, whatever. It'll serve a purpose anyways, and I won't have to get rid of it. It's very useful. It's just not filling my needs anymore. So anyways, once, all these items show up, then I can put the system together. I can have my beefy system. I'm going to clone my hard drive. Hopefully I can reconfigure Windows so that, because I know that it locks the license to the hardware, which is unfortunate because nothing is changing other than, actually everything's changing. But Windows and everything on the hard drives are not. And a lot of the hardware is not, other than the motherboard, processor, memory, and power supply. But I'm upgrading from 12 gigs of memory to 32, and so I should not have to upgrade for a very long time. This motherboard goes up to 128, so does the processor. I've got a Core i5 9400F, which is basically the 9400 minus the Intel integrated graphics, which doesn't bother me at all because, again, I have a video card, so that still fulfills the needs. So anyways, that's the system that I'm kind of building and putting together at the moment. I'm very excited for this thing to come together. I've pretty much stuck with Gigabyte for the motherboard, Intel for the processor, Crucial for the memory, and EVGA for the power supply, which is also the same as my graphics card. So it's a GeForce. So anyways, that's my complete setup for the computer. And sorry about that. I had to pause because I was getting text messages. Yeah, so anyways, back to the story about my wife. We had opted, when the house sold, to buy my computer and to buy a car. Well, we put the duck before the horse there. We bought the computer, so that's still on process. The house is still not sold. It was supposed to be done July 16th, and here we are on August 9th, a little irritated with it, because it's not even the people's fault. It's the lenders and all these, all the paperwork junkies, they're the ones that have been the problem for the last 2.5 weeks. So because of those fools, we're going to have to pay another month's rent, and which is $800, and then utilities and everything else. So, and another month of
There's a slowdown ahead.
Of insurance on the house. And so again, it's very unfortunate, it's very irritating, and we were hoping that it would be done by now, which hopefully it will. We're gonna make decent bank off it. We're basically gonna liquidate all the money we've dumped into the house in the last 5 years, which will be awesome because we just bought a vehicle. My wife and I were looking at vehicles. To me, it doesn't honestly matter. I've been biking to work for the last month and a half since we moved to Loveland, Colorado, because I live 7 minutes driving from work, and it's 20 minutes on my bike. So I've been riding my bike, which I got to put a new chain on that. But I've been riding my bike to work, and I've managed to luck out. They really don't have gray days here like Michigan or anything, that not full rainy days. They'll have an hour, maybe two of rain, and then it stops, and it clears up, and it's hot again. So I usually wait it out at work because within 20 minutes it'll be done. And then I can just ride home and be in peace. But anyways, I've my experience working in a car lot for 10 years, it made it more beneficial for Mary to pick out her own vehicle. And so we were looking at, my stipulation was it had to be either a Ford, a Chrysler, or a GM product. That was it. I was, pretty open on it, other than those, my family's all GM workers. My brother does stuff with Chrysler. I prefer the big three. And so, that, I'm not a big fan of like the foreign cars. Like I know most of the parts are made elsewhere, but on everything. But I'm not a big fan of like the interiors or the designs, and so to me they're just I just don't like them. And so I gave her the option, either a GMC Acadia, a Traverse from Chevy, or like the Buick alternative to the Enclave, and or a Dodge Grand Caravan, because she was kind of torn between an SUV or a minivan, because we run into the problem with the Equinox. It's not quite long enough. One, we have a hard time fitting things in it sometimes. And two, there's a lot of times we need like a truck or, a cargo van or something. But we also would like to haul 3 extra people with us. And we can't do that in the vehicle we have right now. We barely fit an extra kid between our kids' car seats. And so, or booster seats. But we ended up going with the option of the Grand Caravan as a overall. We had her test drive a few, and then, we were looking online, and then finally we find one. And we found it today, actually, and we kind of did a 2-for-1 trip, go to a Air and Space Museum, which they, funny enough, had Star Trek and Star Wars stuff mentioned in there too. And they even had the X-Wing and Anakin's pod racer in there as a full-blown built unit, signed by George Lucas, Harrison Ford, Chewbacca, Anakin, and everybody, so it's kind of funny. So anyways, they... we went to this place and this car lot, and we did the Carfax on it. It was clean, it was good. They had a Town and Country, which is essentially the same thing as Grand Caravan. And this Grand Caravan had 48,000 miles, 2016, like a red burgundy almost. And it was an old commercial vehicle that it was used for, and which is why it wasn't actually, fully beat up on miles yet. And it was a decent deal. Like it was like 14 something or 15 something. And the one thing I've noticed since leaving the car industry, the used car industry, is that they will not haggle. No one does that anymore. It's literally, like, I saw an article on Jalopnik about it, that people just, car dealerships just won't move. They won't budge. Or they'll give you their, the competitive price online, and then when you go in there to purchase it, you've got like $2,000 to $3,000 in, oh, you got to have this extra fee, and, this extra this, and this extra that. And so, I've done my research on it. I kind of knew what was coming. And so we went in there, and Mary's like, you got to do the talking, because, they'll run all over her. And sometimes I'll cave, sometimes not. Today, I was not in one of the moods to cave. So I started having the conversation with this guy. Really weird situation out here in Colorado as opposed to Michigan. Michigan, they're all run on commission, all the salespeople. In Colorado, they're all salary, so they don't care if you buy the car or not. I mean, granted, they're supposed to get the units pushed, but they're not like bending over backwards trying to squeeze extra money out to get you to buy this vehicle. And so it's a little different world here. Very low pressure, very like, we want to please you. We want to have you as a repeat customer, but this is our bottom line. And they'll actually show you, like, they don't even care. Like they'll tell you exactly what they paid for it, when they got it, how old it is, whereas like in Michigan, you kind of have to like really beat them up to get that information. Here, they're just like, here it is. So this vehicle was on the lot 142 days, and we were, we knew this going in. So I was ready to haggle. I was ready to, kind of argue with him. And I'm like, look, I'll pay cash. I just want it for this price out the door. My dad's done that in Michigan, and it works great. I've done it in Michigan. It works great. And so we opted to do this. And funny enough, after we'd been kind of bouncing around for an hour with the general manager and the owner of the place, we managed to beat him up because it was getting up. It was going to be like 17 grand when all was said and done. We beat him up, got it back down under 15. And he's like, fine, blah, blah, blah. Like he got it like to the price. We were happy. They were happy. We ended up getting like the 2 key fobs because I guess normally they don't have them, which I remember that from Michigan. You take things to an auto auction, they disappear miraculously. So we used to take them off the cars and just send them with like a key because most stuff would just come up missing anyway. But anyways, the whole thing went down pretty decent. Funny enough, though, while we were signing up for it and making the final decision, another family with young kids, a little bit younger than ours, come in wanting the same exact van. And so the only gripes with the interior is it's got like beige seats, which are horrible for having kids. Like it's not a family vehicle in that stretch of the imagination there. But it does have the charcoal floor, which was more important to me because the floor is the thing that is going to get murdered gloriously with having children or adults for that matter. I had a 1989 GMC S15 pickup extended cab Sierra Classic 4.3 V6. Yes, I know it's a mouthful, but I love saying it because I love that truck. Anyways, it had beige everything on the inside and some dark brown, but mostly beige. That thing was a travesty because not only did the heater core break at one point and just ooze the heater core fluid all over my carpet, which was red or green. It was green. So it stained the carpet a really funky color. Shortly thereafter, I spilled an icy in the car, which was red, which, again, destroyed the carpet. So, not having a dark floor is very, or not having a light floor is very important. Having a dark floor is a very good thing. And it didn't have leather, which the majority of the ones we were looking at had leather. Or a branded title, which I won't do that. I know that there's some instances where they're okay, but I don't know what historically is wrong with it because they don't exactly say that either. And usually those don't want to give you the Carfax, and I'm not paying $50 for it. So, anyways, other than like a little, front bumper dent in it, it's not bad at all. And, super nice vehicle. I know how to use it already. Mary's not really all that knowledgeable with it, but she's learning, and I'm teaching her things because, again, I've worked at a car a lot. I played around with them just because that was my job as the lot guy, and I also like to just mess with the radios and reprogram them. So that's the fun thing. And I know where all the storage bins are. So, but it's got the stow and go seating, which is really nice because you can fold down the middle row and the back row into the floor, and you've got a cargo van. So, for instance, if I need to go pick something up from the store that's too big for, the Equinox, I can throw it in the back of there and it's fine. The other instances is when you pull the seats back up, you have a storage compartment underneath the footing of the floor, which again is nice because then things that normally take up space in the back of our SUV can be hidden under the floor and not seen unless we need them, which once in a while we do, but there are things that it would be better not to be in direct sunlight or just not take up the space in general. So that we're really excited about. So anyways, that's where Mary's at with the kids, because we drove out to Denver, area together, and her and the kids are driving home currently. And so I'm flying solo in the Equinox, which is basically going to be my vehicle, and I'm perfectly okay with that. I have been spending the last week and a half, I don't know if anybody's getting to that stage of their life where they're having almost borderline midlife crisis. Yes, I just blew $700 on a PC, and we, Mary got a car, which that was kind of needed anyway before winter. But she's also planning on a trip to Arizona to see our old pastor and their kids and family and everything in September when I'm in production. So they won't see me anyway during that week, so they might as well go, and that'll be a nice, comfortable vehicle that they can camp in the back of it and sleep. But the thing is like I've been looking pretty hardcore. Like I really want to find a 1989 or thereabout within. I don't want to get the 90 because they changed the front grille. I want like an 84 to 89 S15 pickup. I'd prefer an S15. I mean, I could get the S10 and just buy the grill and swap it out. But I'd prefer to do that because I love the decals, love the GMC logo, I love the grill design. For a long time, I had mine mounted on the wall that I had from my wreck. But I still have the center emblem that would screw into the grill. I still have that aspect of my truck. And I have the window sticker, and I have the car keys to it still. Again, I missed the truck. I wish that when I traded it in 2008, that instead of trading it for $1,000, I would have kept it in some sort of storage somewhere and then fixed it up later. Because now I'm like deeply regretting it and wishing that I could have the truck back so I could fix it and repair it and drive it, because I love the compact light duty trucks that they had back in the 80s, the S trucks, the S10s, the S15s. Because everything out now is like mid-size, like the Colorado and the Canyon were the logical replacements for the S10 and the Sonoma, which replaced the S15. And the problem with it is that they're huge. Like, even when they came out with the ones, the earlier version of the Canyon and the Colorado, they were nice, and I liked it. I liked the Canyon just because it had some of that flair of the 80s truck. And honestly, I might try doing that, but I don't quite like it as much. I loved the metal and the boxiness to the 89 that I had, and it just seemed like the earlier Canyons and Colorados had like cheap plastic. Never know. I might go that route and try and find a Canyon that I like. But the current Colorados and Canyons, while I do like them,
there's a slowdown ahead.
While I do like them, I would not. I don't think I'd buy them because they're the same price as like a full size Silverado or Sierra. And honestly, I wish GM would come out with a new version of the S10 and the S15. I know they use the S10 name in like South America and Europe and other countries and everything, instead of the Colorado name. But I really wish that they made like a slightly updated, like, keeping true to that old look and that old, the lighting style and the grill style, and I know I'm just being overly nostalgic and like wishy-washy on it, and I should just get with the times and buy a new truck. And I realize that they don't make any of the parts anymore too, but I wish that they there was a way I could find them. I've been looking online on like cars.com and everywhere else, trying to find, a reasonably priced S10 or S15. I've seen them as high as like $35,000, which is just nuts.
There's a slowdown ahead.
And I've seen them as low as like $400. And those are generally like complete dumps. But the thing is I'm wanting the digital cluster that I had. I'm wanting because it was just really cool. They everything was digital. It was awesome. Which mine started going bad a little bit before I got rid of it, among other things that were breaking that I didn't want to fix. And I didn't really have the know-how either. Now I think I would do it just as something to do, because I would enjoy it and getting to drive it. And it's in Colorado too, so nothing out here really rusts out. Like, you have to worry more about hail damaging your vehicles or somebody rear-ending you than you do your vehicle rusting out. Like, they don't use salt out here. They don't, like the Great Lakes area does in surrounding states, because, they don't get the ice as bad and everything thaws out here. But so I see a lot more of the S trucks out here now that I'm out here. Some are rusted, some aren't, but it's one of those things that I'm just very passionate about. And I guess that's kind of where I'm at, in my life, of where I'm wondering if I'm having like a midlife crisis. And it's just strange for me. Like, I'm not wanting like a Lamborghini or Corvette or, go sleep with another woman or anything. Like, that my intense passion is like my nostalgia. Like, I'm like, I want a brand new computer that does everything I want for now and the foreseeable future. And I want my old truck back. Like, that's literally all I want. Like, I don't even care. I think if I could get a Canyon and I could have it two-tone painted like my old truck, just as a nostalgia touch to it, I think that would be really cool. But that would require money, and I don't have that. So, again, just something fun I like to think about from time to time. I did have a Transformer drawn by I can't remember his name now. He drew a copy of he's done art for IDW, like for Transformers covers and everything too. I can't remember the name. But he was doing it around tax time one year, and I had him draw Optimus Prime, which is my version of Optimus, like his clone that's, using the body of my old 89 truck. And I still use it for the ATTF mascot. It's Megatron's fusion cannon, and he's got, kind of a Prime look to him with my old truck, which is just awesome. And so anyways, yeah, I'm very much on the nostalgia train with my old truck and really wanting it, or wanting one like it. And that's kind of my midlife crisis thing. I'm like, I don't care about anything else. I just want this. I just want this truck. I'm sure. And I wanted to run a Carfax on it like the other day, or just like a VIN check, or just to see where it's at, or if it's in the junkyard, or, when the last time it had an oil change, if it's still driving. Just because I'm nosy, and I still have like I said, the car keys to it, or one of the sets. And then I still have the window sticker that my grandpa gave me, and it's got the VIN on it. And the truck was like $16,800 or somewhere in that neighborhood. I don't know. If you go through my tweets on Twitter, you'll find the image of it. But I didn't want to pay the $50 to try and find it, because more than likely it's probably in a junkyard now. Which saddens me. But it had like the rally wheels. It had, it was decked out. It had power locks, power windows, and for an 89, that's pretty awesome. So yeah, that's enough of me gushing about vehicles. Like, I'm sure I just bored the crap out of everybody on here. I did have fun though when I found the art for the last episode. Somebody did that up on Instagram, and it was of Kevin Conroy as like Old Man Bruce, and I guess he's going to be playing the Kingdom Come Bruce Wayne, and they might be pulling Batman from another universe or another multiverse Earth, which I thought was kind of interesting as well. Yeah, so. Lot going on, a lot of different stuff. It's definitely going to be different this next year, and I'm looking forward to seeing what voices I do in Discovery Mountain, which is the show that I'm on. And so yeah, I because I'm redoing the audition process and I'm trying different things out. I sent in like a general demo of voices that I can do, and like the Joker or Megatron, or stares at the Gollum Smeagol, or Walsmalter, or Kermit the Frog, or is the snack bar still open? Jay Sherman, John Lovitz, or Casey Kasem on the Rockin' 24 radio. I'm just throwing phrases in there. Nothing actually is being said. So yeah, I'm just having fun messing around with that, like sending those in. This is Deckard Cain. I protect the Herodrim from Diablo. Yeah. Anyways, you can tell I played way too many video games. I would sit there and listen to Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill doing their lines over and over in the Batman Arkham City games and the Arkham universe and the Diablo games. Listening to Deckard Cain. I'm Deckard Cain. Diablo is a pain in my rear. Yeah, so there's a number of other voices I can do too that I'm just not breaking out right now because my voice is hoarse. I've been talking nonstop for a while, and it's just, yeah. So anyways, those are some of the things going on as far as me and life and geekdoms and whatnot. I did see something really awesome, though, where you can take a Garmin GPS, because the SUV or the van that we bought, some of them come with a Garmin GPS in them, some of them don't. But I found this program. It's a voice studio, and somebody mentioned on Twitter about 3 weeks ago, that, could you imagine, and I know I told the story already, but David K doing Beast Wars Megatron on your GPS, letting you know, you're going in the wrong direction. And I saw this and I thought, this is beautiful. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to download this studio on my computer. I'm going to be buying a Garmin GPS, because we lose our signal of our maps while we're in the mountains. Our satellite, part of the phone just dies. And so we have literally no way of getting to and from the mountains. And it's kind of frightening when you don't know where you're going. So you either have to follow somebody that knows where they're going, or, Anyways, I'm going to record for the Garmin myself doing Megatron's voice.
In half a mile, turn left onto Colorado 60 West.
And, oh yes, turn left ahead, Maximo.
Take the next left onto Colorado 60 West.
Or just some of the other phrases. Like, it'll be fun. I don't know. It gives you ways to record certain lines. And I'm just going to have fun with it.
Continue on Colorado 60 West for 5 miles.
So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm gonna mess around with it. And then just kind of see what happens. Because I really like that idea of being able to do my own GPS voices, and so I can do impressions. Like, I could do a variety of different voices. I could do Southerns and stuff, and just whatever. I mean, I'm gonna have fun with it. I'm gonna do Megatron for sure. I might do the Joker, but it might kill my voice. But yeah, so that'll be entertaining and fun. I just discovered that anyway, so I'm trying to figure out if there's a way to do it for the phone app version of it. I know you can do it for the actual Garmin itself. I want to do it for the phone app if that's possible, because then I can make it super simple. But yeah, there's just a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff changing. GeekCastRadio.com, we're going to be doing some more revamp. Particularly going to be revamping some of the subsections, like where you click on these shows. The option for specific shows I'm going to condense it a little bit on those, but I'm also going to create a kind of a one-stop shop for shows to have. I'm going to redo the subscribe page too, thanks to a plugin by Hank Davis from TPE Network. There's one where it allows you to have the subscription links for all of your different programs, and it associates it with the actual logo of the company. And so I'm going to have it set up for all the shows that way, because the grid that I have on there, one, it's getting rather long, and two, it's just easier if you can find the show you're looking for in that. But I'm also going to put those in the pages for that program. And so, I'm going to be doing a little bit of revamp on some of those things. There's also a nice little feature that I'm going to try out as far as like recording feedback and uploading. But yeah, so some big things are changing and trying new things out. I'm honestly not sure where majority of our programs have gone. I know everybody's had a lot of life issues the last year, so I don't know. We were supposed to do a top 100 wrestling, which never came to fruition. They were supposed to be there hasn't been a Cinematic Geeks in like 4 months. There hasn't been Comic Concierge in like over a year. There hasn't been Remote Control in like at least 6 months. Future Imperfect, it's been like 4. So yeah, there's been a lot of different things kind of going up and down. We're probably going to refocus and kind of move in on certain core programs and kind of drop the rest permanently because it just seems like we're beating our heads against a brick wall trying to keep some of these open. Telecast, that's been a constant thorn since 2011 when it ended the first time. We've had 8 years of people asking when's it going to come back, to the point that people finally quit asking. It was a great show, but it just, unfortunately, it just never came back. But yeah, so Altered Geek, I'm pretty much going to go in a different route. I'm going to kind of retrace some of it, of some of its past. I'm going to talk about some of the more or less hot topics of geekdom, along with maybe like a short tech segment of like a how-to or something, along with a featured topic and some other things. Maybe short interviews if I can fit those in the episodes. Just little things to kind of spruce it up a little bit. It's been in tender need of some TLC and doing like maybe like a short scripted like 1 to 2 minute thing, because I can honestly probably devote the time to that instead of trying to do like a plethora of things. But again, it just kind of depends. I found that life has been rather difficult, different in the last year and a half. So some of the things I'd planned originally are not happening. And so, yeah. So anyways, I think that about rounds this episode of Altered Geek up. This little quick, raw episode of it, where there's really not much to go on. But I don't know. I just felt like being a little open and a little transparent on some of the things that are in plan, some of the things that we're looking forward to, some things I'm geeking out to right now. I know that Altered Geek's kind of a little bit all over the place, especially this last year. I did enjoy doing the interview episodes. I'm going to probably start scheduling those again for the fall. And trying to come up with a different basket of interested parties, or going back through my original catalog to find people that submitted that I didn't get a chance to interview, that I have the episodes, that I did the episodes, for already. And so, and I might actually start bringing on some other geeks and other fans of the show, just so we can have some mixed up stuff on the program. And if people would love to send emails with either feedback or comment on the website or hit me up on social media, those are all great ways to interact with the program. I read everything. And if people would love to leave feedback on iTunes, I know right now some of the stuff is a little bit like on the up and down and just kind of all over the place. So it's a little bit difficult to rate it properly. But I would really welcome constructive criticism sent via email. But yeah, you can interact with the show in those ways. Please do so. Please subscribe on whatever your favorite RSS distribution platform is, whether it be Apple Podcasts or Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Google Podcasts, whatever. One of the interesting things about Google Podcasts is now they're going to start, you can Google a podcast and it will pull up, or the topic nature, and it will pull up podcasts related to it in the search feed. And people can play it from there. So that's another interesting thing that you can look forward to. Maybe something will pop up in there at some point. But yeah, a lot of things coming down the pipe. for Geekcast radio content. And yeah, so until next time, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks.